Following is a brief overview of how Enerlead for Salesforce works. The concept is pretty straightforward. We're loading in oil and gas accounts, well license, spud license, facility licenses related to activity in Western Canada. And how it starts, we do put in the account. So here's an example of the accounts that we put in. I go into the Salesforce list view. So Enerlead's built on the Salesforce platform. And then I can come in and I say, show me everybody that's drilled wells in the last 3 years. So I went to my producers, and here you can see there's a list of 436 companies that show up on that list. And we've got some statistics here, how many wells that they've drilled, how many facilities they put in, some Environmental Canada data, and some other data related to the account. When I actually go click on the account record, we've got some pretty interesting information related to the account inside the body of the account. When it pulls up, here you can see these are the roll-up fields with the records that we've related to this particular organization. What's being drawn up here are report chart links, which are going to show us some of the more recent activity related to this account. So here's the area that they've been most active in the last 3 years, and then here's the areas that they've got the majority of their new well licenses in the last 120 days. We also use a lot of report links that we pre-built for you. So one example would be our rig locator. When I open that up, it allows me to come in and take a look in the last 60 days. They've been operating rig 340, and rig 340 is a precision drilling rig. And then we can see the variance. It's in an area, because we happen to be in Bonnyville, that it's only taking a couple days for each one of those wells to be drilled. We also, to make things from a productivity for your salespeople better, we can link to the Google Stock or Google Finance. You could link to anyone, but Google Finance is extremely effective. Be able to see some of the financial results and the financials related to this particular account. And then we're also able to come in here and link to the BOE report and some of the other Energy Now, some of the other publications on the internet would allow you to get more information about the account. Here's some pretty standard Salesforce stuff, the contacts, and then some of the contact roles and activity history. What we're doing from an Enerlead perspective is we're loading in the well license data. So what we see here is well license data for these particular sites. When I click on the site itself or the license data, we can come in and we can see the activity date or the license date, some people related to the well license record. It was what the substance are and what the general facilities are related to this account. We also load in some of the other related information, such as facilities. And then when we come down here and we take a look at the facilities, here you can see all the different facilities that I put in. And then when we go in and take a closer look at the facility license, same idea. We're seeing the location, what type of facility is, and then some references to contacts associated to this particular site. So from a micro level, you can come into any account and really drill down on what their license, what their activity is from an oil and gas perspective. On a macro perspective, we use the dashboards, and the dashboards are built to help you target accounts or specific areas that you'd be looking for. So what I've done here is I've come specifically to the area related to Grand Prairie. And then when we look at Grand Prairie, we come in and we can see here in this column, here's a list of all the wells that were drilled last week in the last 120 days. And we can also look at new well license information, what some of the trends are over 120 days, who's active in the last last week, and then who's active in the last 120 days from new well licenses. Some information about the area, what type of substances are doing, the operations, terminating zones. And then when we come down here, we also see our facility information. So associated with the facility information, you can see who's put facility licenses the last few days, and again over the last 120 days. And we can also look at the type or some of the engineering companies that might be related to these particular facilities. Any one of our dashboard reports, when I actually click on it, we can come in and get a closer look at the information. So here's the detailed information. It would tell me that Aximus Engineering is dealing with Orland upstream on this particular opportunity. All the dashboards together, I mean, we're delivering probably close to 100 reports, and then that equates out to these dashboards that we see here. We've got cumulative numbers coming in, what's happening in the last 120 days, cumulative in all the different geographic regions. We've got spot ones, new facility last 7 days, new well licenses last week, new spud licenses last week. We also look specifically BC, Bonnyville, Drayton Valley, Estevan, Grand Prairie, High Level, Kindersley, Lloydminster, Medicine Hat, Midnapore, Red Deer, St. Albert, and Wainwright. And then we can also, I've got accumulation if you're interested in plays. We can look at the Bakken play, Heavy Oil, Monterey, Swift Current, Medicine Hat, or Viking. Again, all of these, this is data that we put in, is totally customizable for you on your behalf. The other tool that is very popular when we take a look at what we can do with that data, you can load in a third-party mapping tool, and this happens to be from a company called GeoPoint. It maps the objects that we put into our system. So I could come in here and say, well, I'm interested in the Grand Prairie region, and then what I want to do is I want to take a look at all the new well licenses in the Grand Prairie region, let's say for the last 100 days. And then I'll go ahead and close this and run our search. And then we can come in here and use this particular tool to help us do the diagnosis or analyze this particular area that we're looking in. So there's our Grand Prairie region. We can come in, we can do some different things like when we put our layers in, say, hey, how does this look from a heat map perspective? What area is the hottest? And then we can look at some of our different tools to help us diagnose it. Come in and take a look at who are the account names related to this area, analyze that, see who's active, identify who it is that we want to be able to target. We can also come in to the reports, the maps, and break it out. This is facilities, existing facilities, new well licenses, spud licenses, layer the information on the mapping. The last thing that, again, I showed you at the beginning of the demo, but I find extremely useful, we can come back to our list views and we can break things out into more geographic regions as well. So here I have a list of the Grand Prairie region, and I can break it down. Here's 7 generations, 174 wells drilled in the last 3 years, 174 of those in the Grand Prairie area. Because it's in your CRM, we can also look at things like what our total amount of opportunities are with those accounts, and we can look at those opportunities as companies that we're bidding and winning, companies that we're bidding and losing and we're not bidding yet, so we can put our strategies together. So that was a quick overview of how Salesforce for Enerlead for Salesforce works. Please give Poem if you have a call, 403-472-5795 if you have any questions.